So we are live. Let's make some wood chips. Hey, welcome in. Hey guys, welcome in. So we're making Turkish spindle shafts today. Alrighty, we got it. Ready to go. Hey Steve, yeah, they're thin. Kind of dangerous to work with? No, not at all. I don't replace them very often so they don't break. I mean, if you sit on them, they'll break, but if you use them correctly, they won't. So this is a drop spindle. It's used for spinning yarn. So it's what came before the spinning wheel. So that's the yarn I've spun on it. Yep. So we're turning hard maple. This one isn't very straight, but I ordered them big enough where I should be able to true it up. Yes, I do. Got an extraction system set up. Now the main thing is I want to catch the fine sawdust. I'm not concerned about the big wood chips. I'm not going to breathe those in. Yeah, I've got a dust extractor in the next room over. So I don't have to listen to it run all the time. You know, you can hear the vacuum there, but it's not too bad. All right, at the bottom, we're going to put 2 beads in. So I'm going to be using this beading tool. It's just a bead shape. Hey, Must Know, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, so these are so thin I am supporting them with my hand. Otherwise, just using the tools will knock them out of balance. So yeah, so we're spindle turning, so I'd be using the same tools if I was making a magic wand or spindles for a baluster or furniture parts, baseball bats, wooden pens, that kind of thing. All spindle turning. Hey Roger, how's it going? Let's try to change the view a little bit because my hand's getting in the way. So bring it down to there. I think I'll be able to work around that. And you can see my belly. So, welcome in. If you're new to the channel, my name's Scott. I am a full-time production woodworker from Wisconsin. This channel is usually project videos and reviews, but I figure this is my, this is my day job. But, I'm going to be here anyway, so if you want to watch, that'd be cool. Keep me motivated to keep working. Hey, Mary, how's it going? Alright, so we were just using a roughing spindle gouge. Now we're going to switch to a spindle gouge. The roughing gouge is just that. It takes up a lot of material. Hey Nate. Yes, we're making toothpicks for hippopotamuses. So we're making drop spindles for spinning yarn. These are Turkish style, so there's actual arms. Like that. So yeah, this channel, like I said, is about mainly tutorials and projects. Some reviews. How much was my lathe? This is a Laguna Revo 1216, so it's a midi-size lathe. This one was a little over $1,000. Hey, how's it going? Hope everybody's surviving Black Friday, I'm sorry, Black Friday. I personally am avoiding any shopping type place today. This is my job. So I've been doing these full time for about 12 years. Prior to that, I worked in factories for like 18. So starting at about this job, Snyder Spindle started in 2013. I was making wooden toys and like name signs and stuff, starting like 2008 and selling those on Etsy. So yeah, me and my girlfriend, my partner, we both do this. What else do I make? I make a lot of spindles for fiber artists. But if you check out the channel, there's a bunch of decorative things that we've made. So I'm trying to focus on like beginner to intermediate woodworking, like scroll saw work. So I designed this for Easter. This is a Steve Good pattern, but made a video of cutting that out as well. All right. Hey Gary, how's it going? What are you making did then by me asking you this to you, then in a message to you, then in to you, then in this messages to you then. I'm not quite sure. Tedious? Nah, this is awesome. Production work is not for everybody, and I get it, but I really enjoy what I do. Hey, how's it going, Jay? Welcome in. Yeah, I understand production work isn't for everyone. But I've always been a blue-collar guy. Thought of sitting behind a desk is not really what I'd like to do. But to each their own. So that's a shorter one, that's a 6 inch. So we have some smaller ones here. So if it's not perfectly straight, if the vibration is up on the front of the spindle, we can make it into a shorter one. So that's a bird's eye maple. Alright, so this is made out of bear wood. This is just what I use to mark the bottom of the spindle. I call it's just a jig. Now this is a story stick. Now I have this cutout here so I can register it against. That way all of them will be the same. And then you just transfer the lines over that you need. Which comes in handy when you're going to be making a lot of something. Jigs and templates are your friends. They really are. Now we're just burning in some decorative lines. This is just some picture frame hanging wire that I took a couple strands off of and applied them together to make the thickness I want. A lot of people use guitar strings for burning. Some people use playing cards. There's a bunch of different things you can do. I just use that wire because I have a lot of it. They do make, you can buy it as a finished made product. Usually the burning wires are just guitar strings, and they have the balls on both ends, and they're like handles that you hook into the balls, into the little ends. So these are the full-size gliders. This is genuine mahogany. Pretty stuff. Hey, thank you. Alright, so there's something going on up here. Let's see. It's just chipped out. So you can see how not straight that is. Yeah, there's something going on right there, so. probably make this one to a 7-inch. Yeah, we'll do 8. Do I buy the blanks or make them? Yeah, I buy these already circular in dowel form. I used to cut them myself for many years. But the time it took me to machine them, to get them to be blanks, it was just worth it just to buy the doweling already made. So, I think it was Adam Savage. I was watching a video, and he made the point that when you first start out making something, the most important thing is going to be materials. Your time is free. The materials is what cost you money. Well, once you start getting going, make a name for yourself, that switches. So your supplies are the least amount of money. Your time is what's valuable. Plus, having them already cylindrical, it makes a lot less wood chips too for me to deal with. Yeah, I used to buy a 6/4, 8/4 inch thick hard maple, and then take it and just resaw it down, which is fine. But I could be using that time doing something else. Alright, so we did end up doing an 8-inch shaft. And we got this cherry standard here. The bottom gets sanded out and waxed in the next step. Now, myself personally, working for myself is so much better than working for somebody else. I mean, if I was doing factory work, I'd be here doing the same thing all day. At least this way I get paid for what I'm making. So you're a correctional officer? Yeah. I don't have to deal with inmates. You know, but if you're going to start a job because you don't like your boss, that's not really a good idea. Because if you're making stuff to sell, everybody is your boss. Every customer is your boss, whether you like it or not. Are we making chopsticks? We could be making chopsticks. We're making shafts for Turkish drop spindles. Really wish I could get my sign in view. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, my ex-brother-in-law was a correctional officer. So you said you worked for the corrections, could be anything. Well, he was a correctional officer. He worked in the Supermax for quite a few years. Max 13 years deep. You know, he was always working towards retirement, you know, as far as he would rather be up in a tower than, you know, directly dealing with people, which I get. But those retirement jobs don't come along every day either. Yeah, my sister lives in a little town, not too far away from here, like 20 miles. And they have 3 prisons. They got a medium, they got a max, and they got a super max. And it's like the safest place in the world to be, because if anybody breaks out, they're going to get the hell away from there. Oh, and then there's also the prison farm. So since we're in Wisconsin, they have a dairy farm. That supplies all the dairy products. And I made the mistake of wearing an orange t-shirt that said inmate number on. Like, people are really looking at me funny. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in Waupun. And then right near me, my neighbor's Chichita, which is a female prison. That was really popular. They did away with their farm program. Yeah, but we're Wisconsin, so we have to stick with our, you know, our butter. Margarine used to be illegal here. People would sneak to Illinois to buy margarine. Yeah, so Chichita, they had an escapee who was Bambi, what was it? Bembenek? She got away and she went up to Thunder Bay, Canada. Alright, now we're just taking some wood chips. We're going to burn it. So you can, you know, normally I just gather up the wood chips from around. But I do have a bin with them in, so when I sweep up, I'll save a bunch of it. This isn't bad because I'm making them now, but if I'm burnishing something else, I have that sitting there. Hey, Dark, how's it going? Huge on TV, oh yeah, people get a little obsessed with that kind of stuff. But you can't blame them. Another 7-inch one. We are making shafts for Turkish style drop spindles that are used for spinning yarn. But if you want to pretend we're making toothpicks, chopsticks, little magic wands, in this case maybe some sword fighting could happen here. Hey, Jose, how's it going? Yeah. So we're just gonna knock a bunch out. I'm just kind of waiting around. I got a couple hours before we got to run to the post office. All right, Nate. You have a great day. Be safe. Hey, R, how's it going? Estonia, welcome in, Estonia. I am in the United States. We got our first snow yesterday. And then we're supposed to get, it was just a dust thing, but it's enough to tell you that winter's coming. We're supposed to get a bunch tomorrow. So that's the one bad thing about having a commercial workshop. I'm in like a little downtown area. It's a little dead town. There's no real reason to come down here, but I have to take care of the sidewalks here and then at my house. And you know, what time is it there? It is 11:20 a.m. It's currently 27 degrees Fahrenheit and partly cloudy. Thank you for the subscription. Much appreciated. So I really don't have a schedule for live streaming. So if you want to catch the live stream, it's probably a good idea to click the bell icon. And then if you get sick of the notifications, you can just turn it off. Hey Tristan, how's it going? Even though I've already been talking to you. Alright, we're going to burn in some decorative lines. This is just some wire. I put little handles on it, so I've got a little garrote here. I'm going to hold that down for a couple seconds. Now I put a magnet on mine so I can stick it to my lathe so I don't have to look for it. You'll support people who make things happen. That's awesome. There's just too many screens these days. Granted, I am on a screen right now, and so are you. So this is made out of leopard wood. It's not sanded yet, so it's a little hard to see, but it's got spots all over it. So I am using a 4-jaw chuck, and that allows me to work on the ends because it clamps in there. So we want to get as much work done while it's clamped in on that side, and on this side there's a pin, and it's spinning, so it's a live center. If it didn't spin, it would be called a dead center, and some old lathes have dead centers. When you get into like metalworking, there'll be more dead centers used, but so there's just a bearing in there and it's spinning. So I'm going to be using this wrench as a caliper, so it's a little bit too big. See, the wood's too big. So once I bring the diameter down where this will slip over the top, I know I'm on size. have marks on my tool rest, which tells me some things are going. I will take your word for it. There we go. Now I'm just going to give it a light sanding. I'm worried about right here, because that taper there is what's going to lock the spindle shaft in. So it gets wedged in there, so I want to make sure I got a nice fit. We're going to put in our beads. So this is a beading tool, so it's a little V-shaped scraper. Set that in. Hey Em, how's it going? Okay, so we start with the medium grit, then we use the fine grit, and then we're going to burnish the surface with some wood chips. Hey Nick, how's it going? We are making drop spindles. These are used for spinning yarn. So these are Turkish drop spindles. So you actually store the yarn around the arms on the bottom. So that's what I've spun up on this one. So yeah, I'm actually making a tool for making things. But this spindle turning could be, I could be making a magic wand or a baseball bat or furniture parts or toothpicks or golf tees. We could turn some mahogany golf tees. Artisanal golf tees. I think that's where the future of the world is going. There you go. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, if I was making wands, I'd be doing using the same tools, basically the same process. So if I was making a wand, it wouldn't have to be perfectly straight, because you can leviosa something if it's got a little bend to it. But since this is going to be basically an axle, it needs to be straight. Or a drumstick. So we'll make this into a 7-inch. So yeah, when you're doing production work, it's a lot like Let's see. Yeah. You could learn how to make those things. I can make all those things. So when you're doing production work, having everything like close where you know where it is, where you don't have to look for it, is really important. It's kind of like NASCAR, where the races are won in the pit. So the turning's always going to take the same amount of time, but switching between is where you're going to find time savings. Hello 52 and hello Prince. How's it going? So Prince, you big 3D printer? I personally, I do a lot of FDM printing, but that's about it. I haven't gotten into resin or anything like that. Seems like a stinky thing, yeah? So, what's your printer of choice these days? Yeah, that was Luna. She's now a little bit over a year old. She is adorable. She's a troublemaker. You have a A1 Bamboo? That's a nice printer. Yeah, Bamboo Labs does a great job. Bamboo Lab does a great job. They really do. I've got two X1 carbons. I got the first one right when it came out, and I got the second one like a year later. And they just discontinued them for the new P2s. You subbed? Awesome. Thank you so much. Is it Hopper? Not sure. So I'm just going to say 76. I'm going to say hi. I think I already did. Hello, Mario. Yeah, so right now I don't have a print farm. I don't do a ton of printing. I've got two X1 carbons. I've got an A1 Mini. And then I've got an old King Rune and like an old Creality Ender 3 V2 S1. Yeah, I make things for sale. So my day job, nice, is doing this kind of stuff. But I mainly make fiber tools, so I make things for people who work with yarn. So I make a bunch of yarn type stuff. All right, have a great day. Hey Kay, how's it going? So if you guys are just tuning in, we're making Turkish style drop spindles or cross arm spindles that are used to spin yarn. So how's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? So we're making shafts for Turkish drop spindles today. So I already have the arms cut out. So these are mahogany. So I got a little bit ahead making the arms. I got a bunch of arms made out. I was testing Buck Tool's new 16-inch scroll saw. So I just released a video yesterday on that. So I ran it through a bunch of tests. So I don't want to review something that I, haven't used for some time. So I figured 16 hours is enough where anything that would have gone bad already if there was a issue with the factory. Hey DJ, welcome in. Yuzu, it could be a chopstick. So we made up a bunch of arms, and we got to make up the shafts to go with them. A little bit of vibration on the front there, so probably drop it down to a 7. If there was only a clue what I was doing. I walked all the way over to the other side of the shop to get that sign. Nice. Hey Vanessa, welcome in. Yeah. I've always enjoyed making things with my hands. I always have. I was not designed to sit behind a desk. Like, I worked in factories for like 18 years. That's alright. Here we go, we're furnishing. And a little wax. Oh no. Well, now the exhaust system has a lot of wax. That's alright. I'm sure the extractor's just fine eating some wax. So you might be thinking, why don't I just outsource these to a company that's got a big CNC lathe that could just chunk them out? And the reason behind that is I believe people prefer things that are handmade, plus the amount of testing I would have to do. Really doesn't appeal to me, and this is more fun. So I do spin yarn, I do knit, I do crochet. I do a little weaving as well. So I do have a website. It's snyderspindles.com. Let me grab my phone. Yeah, it's definitely honest work, that's for sure. So yeah, so snyderspindles.com. And I also sell on Etsy. Yep, so I've been running this shop for 12 years. And we have 26.4 thousand sales. So we also do some sublimation. So I inlay sublimated discs so I can put different images in. Hey, look, I'm wearing a blue shirt and spinning. Hey, Maya, how's it going? But yeah. If I was like into like, more role-playing games, I'd probably be making like dice towers and card deck holders and that kind of thing. But I'm really into fiber arts, so I do this. So yeah, it's taken years. There's a lot of vibration in this one. Look at that. Yeah, so this one is going right in the fireplace. So you could do everything right, and they're not all going to turn out. Wood's a natural material. There's internal stresses in wood. So if you're making something and it doesn't work out, it might not be your fault. Hey, Ann, how's it going? Hello. Is it Utam? Welcome in. So my grandfather was a wood carver, and he used to sell at shows. So when I was little, I remember going to all these carving shows, these bird shows, and running around. My dad brought home a scroll saw when I was like 12. And I'm like, oh, I can make stuff with the scroll saw and go to shows and sell it. When I was a little kid. Handmade chopsticks, absolutely, Sledge. Or slam? Little did I know. We may have to pull out every other tooth, but we'll get it to work. So we just added a little bit of paste wax. See, it's running nice and true. The lathe right now is spinning at 3,629 RPMs. So if it's sitting here and it looks like it's standing still, we're doing good. All right, so we got everything done. Now we're just going to cut it off. So I'm going to support it, because it's going to be going from, 3,600 RPMs to 0 in like a fraction of a second. So it's slowing down. There we go. So we got another arms here. So the next step is going to be sanding and balancing. So the bottom will get sanded out. We'll add a little bit more wax. Then we'll sand around everything over and then balance it. And then we'll put a finish on it and come back and laser engrave the business name, the type of wood, and how much it weighs. That way, if you have a bunch of yarn on it, if you weigh this, you can subtract the weight of this, and then you know how much yarn you have. So yeah, so we sell online. We do some limited wholesaling. We don't do a lot of wholesaling these days. It's just hard to say, hey, I'm going to sell something to you for half as much as I charge for it, because you're going to buy more than I'm selling. So, we kept a lot of our early wholesaling clients, but we're really not taking on much these days. Between the website and our festival sales, we do okay. Hello, Jafar. Thank you so much. Hello, 36. Welcome in. Yeah, once they're sanded and have a finish on them, they're gorgeous. So if you ever see something that's wood turned that has a whole bunch of like lines on it, it's because it's really fast to burn lines into turned objects. You see it a lot on those I can't think what they're called. They're for making Mexican hot chocolate, where it's kind of like a whisk, but not really. Those tend to have a lot of lines. Hello, D. Welcome. And the funny part is, those things are often mistaken for drop spindles. So in forums, usually at least once a year, somebody finds one at a thrift store and look at this drop spindle I found. Well, that's great, especially if you want to make some hot chocolate. Ready to cut this one off. And another one, another mahogany one. So this shape here is called the glider. It's kind of a handlebar mustache or like a Napoleon hat kind of shape. Another style I make a lot of are more traditional crescent shaped. Hey D, how's it going? So, did anybody do the whole Black Friday sale thing? Get up at the break of dawn to rush into stores? I know last year it really didn't amount to much. You know, it was a tradition for a while, you know. We went out for breakfast this morning, and there wasn't like a whole bunch of people out. So. Yeah, I've got a social anxiety thing, and it's I really prefer not to do those types of things. I do festivals, you know. I'm at shows. I'm selling, but I can deal with people in that situation. But people like pushing and shoving and grabbing, it's not my thing. Little vibration, a lot of vibration. We're gonna feed that one to the fireplace. So the reason I break them is so when I go to burn them, I'm not like, oh, what's wrong with this thing? Yeah, this one's very bent. Look at that. Ugh. And that's because these are just made on a big machine that you feed wood into. The machine does not care what they look like. And quality control did not care what they look like. You know, it's also case use. You know, if I was buying these and making like a little clothes rack or something that folds out, they wouldn't have to be perfectly straight. You know. Hey, Deep. Welcome in. Well, welcome in. I was listening to Santana on the way to work today, so oye, como va? Says the gringo who does not speak Spanish. Bump, 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 bump. Cut it off on the bottom. Just using the skew, I'm bringing it down to a point. Just clean up the wax a little bit there. Now, this arm here, this is honey locust. We are making drop spindles for spinning yarn. So we're making Turkish style drop spindles or cross arm spindles. So we're making the shafts out of hard maple. So this is my day job. The channel itself is more about beginner to intermediate like scroll saw and lathe projects. We're going to get into more laser engraving, 3D printing, that kind of thing later. But I figured since I'm going to be doing this anyways, might as well hang out with you guys for a few hours. I do have to do grocery shopping today, and we got to run to the post office in probably about an hour. Then we'll come back and work for a few hours. That's the nice thing about being self-employed. You can go grocery shopping when everybody else is at work or busy. Well, this is a bad day. I'm not going to Walmart. I'm going to go to Aldi. We'll see how busy they are. I don't think they have any Black Friday sales today. Yeah, today's a horrible day to go shopping. Unless you're looking for Campbell's soup, I think you should be able to find plenty of that on sale. So there's an 8-inch shaft. Yeah, we got some more honey locust here. I think we got 3 more. So it's spinning nice. It still has to be sanded and balanced, but it's got good balance before you sand it. It makes it a lot simpler. So the reason I stream making these is because you can make them in a relatively short period of time. So I can knock one of these out in under 5 minutes. So you can see the whole process without devoting a lot of time. And the majority of people are watching on their cell phones, so it's just a swipe away, you know. get more wax out. I was hoping to get through the stream, but I dropped a piece in, so I got some wood chips in here. We're gonna vacuum them out. So the hose came off the vacuum. If it's attached, it definitely works better. So I am running a little two-stage dust collector down here, which is nice because there's nothing worse than having to replace the filters on shop vacs. So if I can keep that filter clean. That vacuum sucks. It absolutely does. It does much better when it's plugged in. Are we gonna hit Aldi, honey? Alright. Yep, so in the workshop I got one big dust extractor for this. We got a smaller one for our sanding area, and then we got a bunch of shop vacs. We got like 4 shop vacs in here. So I did buy one of those DeWalt Stealth Sonic shop vacs. It's like half the volume of like a normal shop vac. You can talk over it. It's amazing. I have that on my CNC machine. And the CNC machine also has a spindle, so it's not that loud. Into a router running for hours on end. You're new and you love woodworking is something that you throw my buddy manufacturer boomer. Nice. I throw you my buddy manufacturer boomer. Yeah, there's something about working with your hands. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. If I was making magic wands, I'd be doing the same process. I would just be leviosa-ing. Little vibration on this, I can get away with a 6-inch. No, that's okay. So we're making drop spindles, so you use them to spin yarn. So it's what came before the spinning wheel. So you take roving, you give a sheep a haircut, then you process the fiber, and then you take the fiber and then you spin it into yarn. So this is roving. So this is wool. So sheep got a haircut. They picked all the poop out of it. They carefully washed it, so not to felt it, to get the lanolin out. Then they carded it, so all the hairs are in the same direction. So you take your spindle, spin the spindle to put twist in the fiber. And with my hands, I'm drafting. I'm defining the thickness of the yarn and how much twist is going into it. Okay. Yep. Not a problem. Then you store it on the spindle. The cool thing about these are when you're done, you take it apart and the ball comes off. What's that? All right. Are you okay for 12:30? So about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. We'll go get some groceries. Go ahead. There's a lot of mills where you're from in New England. Yeah, you got to tour and see how they use the shuttlecock. Yeah, we got a lot of woolen mills here. I'm in Wisconsin, so got the nice winters. Not a problem. Awesome, thank you. Right? Yeah. So you make fidget spinners? No, I don't make fidget spinners. You know, that's the nice thing about, you know, the way that technology has changed over the years. You know, because I sell these online. Being a spindle maker prior to the internet, it was rough. See the sign that your hand is covering? Yeah. It's in the way as well. Small one. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting snow tomorrow. Between 6 and 8 inches, I think. So today I have to remember to go get the snow blower out of storage. We got a dusting, a little more than a dusting, on Thanksgiving. Yeah, so I make a bunch of different sizes and styles. Even with the Turkish spindles, there's a bunch of different ones. So my main sizes are 4 1/4, 6, 7, 8. So I start out making an 8-inch, and if something's wrong up here, I can make it into something littler. And if it's bad, I throw it in my fireplace at home, and it makes great kindling. And they do make fire starters out of the wood chips. But the fire starters, I don't sell them. They're just for me. Your buddy literally makes boomerangs that he throws and they come back? Absolutely. Yeah. I made myself a few boomerangs probably 15 years ago out of Baltic birch. That's fun. Out of plywood. So where I grew up, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I had gas station chicken and gas station macaroni and cheese for Thanksgiving. It was lovely. Not very traditional. Have fun shopping. Oh yeah, nothing's better than groceries. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a couple more and then call it a stream. What kind of wood? I'm using hard maple for these. And then the arms are a variety of wood. This one's honey locust. That's genuine mahogany. I've got some more exotic woods in the batch here that are going to be coming up eventually. Yeah, I'm trying to use up our wood supply before we start. Yeah, air gap pipe. Yeah, I was using Baltic birch plywood. But I only made a few of them for myself. They are neat. So yeah, it's birch plywood that comes from the Baltic, so it's Russian plywood. And these birch trees grow in swamps. So the price of plywood will fluctuate greatly depending on how the winters are. You need a cold enough winter where they can get the machinery out into these swamps. So if they have a mild winter, the price of plywood like shoots through the roof. Or if you have a president that likes putting tariffs on everything, luckily it comes from Russia, so we're good. So. The reason it's so nice is it grows so high up that the trees grow very slowly, so they're really strong. Purple Heart's not bad. It likes to burn. That's the only thing. You have to be really careful machining it. This one's canary wood. I got some ligum vente around, which is super, super hard. You get like, you know, African blackwood. That stuff is just... oh, it's pretty hard to work with. Yeah, when you start getting into like cocobolo and like ebonies, the price is just crazy. That's leopard wood. So it actually has a bunch of spots. Correct. As I sneeze. I am sensitive to a bunch of rosewoods. I don't get a lot of respiratory problems. I get headaches from them. Tigerwood, yeah. Got some tigerwood laying around. Let's see if I can find a piece. So that's tigerwood. It looks similar to marblewood, but marblewood is a lot. No, this is zebrawood. Where's my tiger? I do have some tiger maple laying out here. So tigerwood's like Joe Billow. So that's tiger maple or curly maple. That's canary wood. This is bacote or bacote. Yeah. So this is actually cherry, but then I laser engraved on the top of it. Alright guys, I think I'm going to run away after this one. I need to take my meds and get some food in me before I go grocery shopping. Otherwise, I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff I don't need. Thank you for hanging out with me. Sorry that was less than a 2-hour long stream, but we got some stuff. There we go. Yep. Catch you at the next one. Have a great day, guys.